You are about to learn a clear, practical way to make real progress fast by using focused practice and simple habits. This audiobook shows step by step how 20 hours of deliberate work can move a skill from awkward to usable. You will hear exact actions to take each day, how to arrange your practice, and how to fix mistakes so time actually counts. Expect honest strategies for staying calm under pressure, for getting back up after setbacks, and for keeping steady progress when life gets busy. Picture quiet, focused sessions, a timer on your desk, and small wins that add up week after week. You will get methods to break any skill into small parts, practice them daily, and connect them into reliable ability. Every chapter gives practical exercises, feedback techniques, and short routines you can use immediately. If you want to stop guessing and start improving with a plan, you can follow this audiobook gives that plan. Stay with the whole audio, and you will finish ready to start a new skill today and see real change within the first 20 hours. Chapter 1. Commit to focused practice for 20 hours every week. Committing to focused practice for 20 hours every week is not about simply putting in time or going through the motions. It is about creating a deliberate structure in your life that prioritizes mastery over distraction, progress over comfort, and resilience over excuses. True learning is not accidental. It requires intention, discipline, and a steadfast commitment to showing up, even when the work feels uncomfortable or repetitive. The moment you decide to dedicate 20 hours a week to focused practice, you are taking a fundamental step toward transforming your abilities and, ultimately, your life. This commitment is more than a schedule. It is a declaration to yourself that your growth matters and that you are willing to invest the necessary energy and effort to achieve it. Focused practice begins with clarity. Without a clear understanding of what you want to achieve, even the most extended hours can become aimless. Identify the skill you want to learn and define the specific level of proficiency you desire. For example, if the goal is to learn a new language, clarity would mean specifying whether you want to hold a basic conversation, achieve fluency, or master professional communication. This level of specificity allows your practice to become intentional rather than scattered. Every hour spent practicing should have a purpose, a measurable outcome, and a way to track progress. A lack of clarity dilutes effort, turning potential mastery into wasted hours and frustration. Once clarity is established, the next step is structuring the 20 hours in a sustainable way. 20 hours might seem daunting, but when divided into daily or near-daily practice sessions, it becomes entirely manageable. For example, dedicating 3 hours a day for 6 or 7 days a week, or breaking it down into smaller sessions of 2 hours over 10 days, provides consistency without overwhelming the mind or body. The key is not merely the quantity of hours, but the quality of focus during those hours. Every minute of practice must be undisturbed, fully attentive, and free of mental clutter. Practicing with half your attention is nearly worthless. The brain requires sustained focus to encode new skills and create the neural connections that lead to mastery. Focused practice demands removing obstacles, distractions, multitasking, and vague routines undermine progress. Phones, social media, and background noise are not just minor interruptions. They fragment attention and reduce learning efficiency dramatically. Creating a space that supports your practice is crucial. This space should be quiet, organized, and dedicated solely to the activity at hand. The environment itself signals to your mind that this time is important and that distraction has no place here. Even seemingly minor interruptions can accumulate, reducing the effectiveness of practice and slowing progress. Discipline is cultivated in the way you protect these hours and prioritize your focus above all else. Equally important is the mindset with which you approach these 20 hours. Focused practice is not an endurance test. It is an intentional exercise in growth. Approaching practice with a stoic mindset means embracing challenges and discomfort as essential components of learning. Mistakes are inevitable, and progress will not always be linear. Accepting this reality and remaining steadfast builds resilience, patience, and confidence. The commitment to 20 hours a week is as much about cultivating mental strength as it is about improving technical skill. Each session of focused practice is a small victory over distraction, doubt, and procrastination, reinforcing the idea that mastery is achieved through persistence, not luck. Practical application requires breaking the practice into structured sessions. Each session should begin with a clear objective and end with a review of what was accomplished. A 30-minute session without a goal or reflection is wasted time. Goals can be as simple as learning 10 new words in a language, mastering a single chord on an instrument, or solving a specific type of problem in mathematics. Reflection is equally critical, allowing you to evaluate what worked, what didn't, and how to adjust future sessions. By breaking practice into cycles of objective, action, and reflection, every hour spent becomes purposeful and measurable. A critical component of committing to 20 hours of focused practice is establishing accountability. It is easy to rationalize skipped sessions or distracted practice, but the consequences of inconsistency are clear. Progress slows, motivation declines, and the skill remains underdeveloped. Accountability can take many forms. Sharing your goal with a mentor, coach, or friend creates external pressure to remain consistent. Tracking hours and milestones in a journal or digital tool provides visual evidence of progress and reinforces commitment. By holding yourself accountable, you create a system where the cost of failure is tangible, motivating you to honor the commitment even when it is inconvenient or challenging. Another essential element is recognizing and embracing the plateau effect. Learning is rarely a smooth upward trajectory. Progress often comes in bursts, followed by periods of slow or seemingly stagnant improvement. Committing to 20 hours of practice each week requires patience during these plateaus. It is during these times that discipline and persistence matter most. The hours you invest when progress feels slow are often the ones that produce the most significant long-term gains. The brain and body require repetition and consistent exposure to consolidate skills and adapt to new challenges. Trusting the process and continuing to practice, even when results are not immediately visible, separates temporary effort from enduring mastery. Incorporating breaks strategically enhances the effectiveness of focused practice. Long stretches of uninterrupted effort without rest can lead to diminishing returns and mental fatigue. Short breaks allow the mind to recover, consolidate information, and return with renewed energy. Techniques such as the Pomodoro method, which alternates 25 minutes of intense focus with 5-minute breaks, are effective for maintaining concentration over long periods. Breaks also provide an opportunity for reflection, allowing you to consider what went well, what could improve, and how to approach the next session with greater efficiency. Balance between effort and rest is not a compromise, it is a deliberate strategy to optimize learning. Motivation plays a significant role, but it cannot be relied upon as the sole driver of consistent practice. Motivation fluctuates and often fails precisely when commitment is needed most. That is why structure, clarity, and accountability are vital. They transform intention into action, regardless of temporary feelings. Viewing practice as a non-negotiable part of your week, rather than something optional, ensures that progress continues steadily. Even when enthusiasm wanes, the habits you have established carry you forward, reinforcing the principle that discipline outweighs emotion in the pursuit of mastery. The emotional impact of committing to 20 hours of focused practice should not be underestimated. Each hour dedicated to growth is a statement of self-respect and personal investment. Progress, however small, provides satisfaction, confidence, and a sense of purpose. With each session, you are reshaping not only your skills but also your identity. You become someone who values effort, discipline, and growth over comfort and stagnation. This emotional reinforcement strengthens your commitment, making each subsequent hour of practice easier to approach with focus and determination. Real-world application of this principle is evident in countless examples. Musicians, athletes, programmers, and language learners all achieve mastery by adhering to structured, focused practice schedules. 20 hours a week may seem modest compared to the thousands of hours often cited for true mastery, but the initial 20 hours are critical for overcoming the inertia of unfamiliarity and building foundational skills. These hours represent the point where learning shifts from hesitant experimentation to deliberate, accelerated improvement. Starting with commitment ensures that you cross this threshold quickly and efficiently. Success in this framework is measurable. Tracking hours, milestones, and improvements provides concrete feedback. Keeping a journal of what was practiced, what was achieved, and where challenges remain not only reinforces progress, but also highlights patterns that can inform future practice. For instance, you may notice that certain times of day produce better focus, or that breaking practice into shorter segments leads to higher retention. This data-driven approach transforms practice from a vague intention into a precise, manageable, and productive process. The transformative power of committing to 20 hours every week extends beyond skill acquisition. It reshapes your relationship with effort, persistence, and discipline. You begin to understand that meaningful growth is earned through consistent, focused action, not through shortcuts or occasional bursts of enthusiasm. The habits and mindset cultivated through this commitment carry over into other areas of life, fostering resilience, patience, and the confidence to tackle challenges in work, relationships, and personal development. Mastery becomes not only a skill but a reflection of character. In conclusion, committing to focused practice for 20 hours every week is a deliberate and transformative choice. It requires clarity of purpose, structured routines, disciplined attention, and resilience in the face of challenges. By creating a distraction-free environment, breaking sessions into purposeful cycles, incorporating reflection, and holding yourself accountable, you maximize the impact of each hour. Accepting plateaus, managing breaks effectively, and understanding the role of discipline over fleeting motivation ensures steady and meaningful progress. Each hour invested is a step toward mastery, personal growth, and a stronger, more capable version of yourself. The commitment is not merely about acquiring a skill, it is about forging a mindset, establishing habits, and creating a life in which continuous improvement becomes inevitable. The decision to dedicate these 20 hours each week is a declaration of intent, a practice of resilience, and a commitment to the kind of focused action that shapes extraordinary lives. This chapter has provided the framework, principles, and actionable steps necessary to start today. It emphasizes that mastery is not the result of chance or fleeting inspiration, but the product of deliberate, disciplined, and consistent effort. Every week, you honor this commitment. You reinforce your identity as someone who learns, grows, and acts with purpose. In doing so, you create momentum that compounds over time, ensuring that each skill you pursue becomes a stepping stone to personal excellence, deeper understanding, and meaningful achievement. Focused practice for 20 hours every week is not a task to check off, it is a lifestyle. It is the bridge between potential and accomplishment, between curiosity and expertise, and between intention and transformation. By embracing this principle, you do not merely learn new skills, you become the type of person who achieves goals, overcomes obstacles, and inspires through disciplined action. The journey begins with the first hour, and each subsequent hour builds on the last, creating an unstoppable rhythm of growth, mastery, and self-mastery. The decision to commit is the first act of courage, the foundation of skill, and the catalyst for a life transformed. Chapter 2. Break skills into tiny parts and practice each daily. Breaking skills into tiny parts and practicing each daily is the foundation of efficient and lasting learning. Large goals can feel overwhelming, intimidating, and often paralyzing. The human mind struggles to absorb complex tasks all at once. Attempting to tackle a skill in its entirety can lead to frustration and a sense of stagnation. The solution is simple but powerful. Divide the skill into manageable components and focus on each piece individually. This approach allows the brain to build understanding incrementally, reinforces confidence, and transforms seemingly impossible goals into achievable daily actions. Every skill, no matter how complex, can be dissected into smaller, actionable units. Consider learning a musical instrument. Mastering the instrument as a whole is daunting, but breaking it down into scales, chords, finger positioning, and rhythm patterns makes progress tangible. Similarly, learning a language becomes manageable when divided into vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, listening, and conversational practice. By addressing each part separately, progress becomes measurable, and the learning process feels less intimidating. This approach applies to physical skills, cognitive abilities, creative tasks, and professional competencies alike. Daily practice is what transforms division into mastery. Practicing sporadically or in large, inconsistent blocks diminishes the effectiveness of breaking skills into parts. The mind thrives on repetition and regularity, and consistent practice strengthens neural connections. Even dedicating as little as 30 minutes to a single component every day compounds over weeks. The key is persistence combined with focus. By tackling a small part each day, the learner experiences steady progress, which builds both motivation and momentum. Each completed segment reinforces the habit of learning and contributes to long-term mastery. It is essential to identify the most critical parts of a skill first. Not all components contribute equally to competence or performance. Prioritizing the foundational elements ensures that every minute of practice yields the maximum return. For example, in writing, focusing on sentence structure and clarity before attempting complex stylistic elements provides a stronger base. In sports, mastering fundamental techniques before advanced strategies ensures stability and reduces the risk of ingraining bad habits. Prioritization makes learning efficient and prevents wasted effort on non-essential details early in the process. Focusing on one part at a time requires discipline and attention. Multitasking within skill practice reduces the effectiveness of each effort. The brain can only process and reinforce a limited amount of information at once. Concentrating on a single component allows deeper understanding and more rapid improvement. A focused approach also prevents the frustration of juggling multiple difficulties simultaneously. Daily dedication to one part strengthens the neural pathways associated with that specific skill, making integration with other components more seamless later. Immediate and actionable goals enhance this approach. For each component, set clear objectives that can be completed within a practice session. The clarity of purpose transforms practice from abstract effort into tangible achievement. Knowing exactly what to accomplish provides structure and direction, reducing wasted time and mental fatigue. Completing each mini-goal gives a sense of accomplishment, reinforcing motivation and commitment. Over time, these small victories accumulate, creating visible progress that keeps learners engaged and invested. Feedback is a crucial element in daily practice of skill components. Without feedback, the learner risks developing errors that become ingrained over time. Evaluating performance after each session, whether through self-assessment, peer review, and technological tools, ensures that mistakes are corrected promptly. Immediate correction prevents minor issues from becoming major obstacles later. Feedback also guides future practice sessions, allowing the learner to adjust focus, refine techniques, and improve efficiency. Consistent review and adjustment create a dynamic cycle of improvement that accelerates mastery. Visualization and mental rehearsal complement physical practice of skill components. Engaging the mind in imagining the execution of a task strengthens neural pathways similarly to actual performance. Daily visualization allows the learner to practice even when circumstances limit physical execution. For example, athletes mentally rehearsing movements or musicians envisioning finger placement reinforce learning and enhance performance. Mental practice, combined with tangible daily work on small parts, accelerates skill acquisition and deepens understanding of each component. Integration of learned components requires deliberate sequencing. Once individual parts are mastered, connecting them thoughtfully ensures smooth execution of the complete skill. Practicing transitions between components gradually reduces errors and increases fluidity. This step-by-step synthesis prevents the overwhelm that often occurs when attempting to merge all aspects of a skill at once. Integration is not a passive process. It demands conscious attention and repeated effort to align each part seamlessly with others. Daily practice should include moments of synthesis alongside isolated work to maintain cohesion. Daily reflection enhances the process of practicing skill components. After each session, consider what was learned, what challenges remain, and how practice can be adjusted tomorrow. Reflection turns experience into insight, turning repetitive effort into purposeful progress. Writing notes, recording performance, or simply mentally reviewing achievements reinforces understanding and helps identify patterns. Reflection also strengthens self-awareness, a critical element of sustained learning and personal growth. The learner begins to understand not just what to do, but how and why certain techniques work best for them. Consistency is the driving force behind this method. Sporadic practice, even of small parts, undermines retention and diminishes progress. Daily engagement builds habit, solidifies routines, and signals to the mind that skill development is a priority. Over weeks and months, the compounding effect of consistent, focused effort becomes apparent. The learner notices improved performance, increased confidence, and greater ease in tackling complex aspects of the skill. Discipline and persistence transform small daily actions into measurable and meaningful achievement. Resilience plays a critical role in maintaining daily practice. Mastering new skills inevitably involves setbacks, mistakes, and moments of doubt. Some components may be particularly challenging, requiring repeated attention before progress becomes noticeable. Viewing difficulty as an opportunity to deepen understanding rather than a sign of failure cultivates mental strength. Daily engagement, even on tough days, reinforces perseverance and reinforces the belief that improvement is possible through sustained effort. Each day of practice is a small victory over resistance, building character alongside competence. Efficiency improves when practice is intentional and structured. Breaking skills into components allows targeted effort, reducing wasted time and energy. Identify the smallest units that yield the most significant improvement and focus on those first. Avoid spreading attention too thinly across multiple aspects simultaneously. Concentrated, deliberate practice accelerates results and ensures that each hour spent contributes meaningfully to overall mastery. Efficiency also prevents burnout, as smaller, well-structured sessions feel achievable and motivating rather than exhausting. Incorporating variety within the daily focus can enhance learning. While attention should remain on one component at a time, slight variations in practice approach prevent stagnation and encourage adaptability. Changing exercises, techniques, or contexts within the component keeps the mind engaged and fosters creativity. Variety combined with focus ensures that the skill develops comprehensively, preparing the learner for real-world application rather than rote memorization or limited proficiency. Motivation is reinforced through visible progress. Each component mastered provides tangible evidence of improvement, strengthening confidence and commitment. Daily practice allows the learner to track incremental gains, transforming abstract ambition into measurable achievement. Celebrating these small wins is not indulgent. It reinforces positive behavior and sustains momentum. Progress becomes its own reward, creating a feedback loop where effort naturally generates motivation and desire to continue. Time management is an essential aspect of daily practice. Allocating consistent time each day ensures that the habit becomes ingrained. Even short, focused sessions contribute significantly if practiced regularly. Prioritize practice alongside other responsibilities by creating a fixed schedule. Protecting these dedicated hours signals to yourself and others that skill development is a priority, reducing the likelihood of skipped sessions or distractions. The power of compounding applies to skill development through daily practice of components. Small, consistent improvements accumulate into substantial competence over time. What may appear as minor effort each day produces exponential growth when maintained consistently. This compounding effect demonstrates that mastery is accessible to anyone willing to engage persistently and intentionally, even in brief daily sessions. Daily practice also fosters self-discipline and accountability. Choosing to engage in deliberate work on a skill component every day reinforces the habit of commitment. Over time, this consistency becomes internalized, creating a mindset that values effort, perseverance, and personal responsibility. The act of showing up daily strengthens character alongside competence, making skill acquisition inseparable from personal growth. Applying these principles leads to measurable transformation. By dividing skills into parts, practicing each daily, reflecting on progress, seeking feedback, and integrating components gradually, the learner moves from novice to competent practitioner efficiently. Daily effort converts potential into actualized ability, turning abstract goals into concrete achievements. The method is simple in theory, but requires courage, persistence, and intentionality in practice. Breaking skills into tiny parts and practicing each daily is not just a learning technique. It is a strategy for building confidence, resilience, and mastery. It turns overwhelming challenges into achievable steps, transforms inconsistency into habit, and replaces frustration with measurable progress. Daily dedication to incremental improvement ensures that the learner not only acquires skills, but also develops the discipline and mindset necessary for lifelong growth. The process is deliberate, structured, and profoundly empowering, proving that meaningful mastery is not a distant dream, but a daily choice made one component at a time. Chapter 4. Focus intensely on one core skill until progress shows. Focusing intensely on one core skill until progress shows is one of the most powerful strategies for achieving mastery. Attempting to learn multiple skills simultaneously often scatters attention, reduces retention, and slows overall growth. The human brain is designed to concentrate deeply when directed at a single purpose, and mastery emerges from sustained, deliberate effort. Choosing one skill and dedicating undivided attention to it allows for faster improvement, stronger neural connections, and the satisfaction of measurable results. Concentration is not simply about effort. It is about prioritizing what truly matters and giving it the full extent of your mental and physical energy. Commitment begins with selecting the most important skill at a particular stage of development. This requires honesty and clarity about your goals. Identify which skill will provide the greatest benefit, the most immediate impact, or the most substantial foundation for future growth. Once the skill is chosen, set clear objectives for what progress looks like. Without a defined measure, effort can become aimless and motivation may waver. Knowing precisely what to achieve allows for tracking improvement and provides the reinforcement necessary to continue pushing forward even when challenges arise. The practice of intense focus demands eliminating competing priorities during learning sessions. This means removing distractions, avoiding multitasking, and concentrating solely on the skill at hand. Even small interruptions can disrupt the flow of learning and reduce effectiveness. Every minute spent with full attention strengthens the brain's ability to encode knowledge and refine techniques. By dedicating a block of time exclusively to one skill, practice becomes meaningful, productive, and transformative. The consistency of focus builds momentum, and each session compounds towards significant improvement over exceeding time. Deliberate repetition is essential to progress. Mastery is rarely achieved through sporadic or casual effort. It requires repeatedly performing the skill with intention, analyzing performance, and refining technique. Each repetition strengthens connections in the brain, making actions more natural, precise, and confident. Focusing intensely ensures that each attempt is purposeful rather than mechanical, which is critical for turning effort into measurable progress. Repetition combined with reflection creates a cycle where learning becomes faster, deeper, and more durable. Monitoring performance is a critical aspect of focused practice. Progress must be tracked to understand what is working and what needs adjustment. Regular evaluation allows learners to identify weaknesses, measure gains, and adjust strategies accordingly. This might involve self-assessment, recording performance, or seeking feedback from mentors or peers. Objective tracking creates a sense of accountability and provides evidence that intense focus produces tangible results. Observing measurable improvement reinforces motivation, strengthens commitment, and confirms that concentrated effort is worthwhile. Mental clarity enhances the ability to focus on one core skill. A cluttered mind reduces attention span and diminishes learning efficiency. Techniques such as mindfulness, visualization, or brief meditation before practice can help center the mind and prepare it for deep engagement. Mental preparation signals to the brain that it is time to perform at its highest level, enhancing concentration, retention, and the capacity to integrate new information effectively. A clear mind allows every action to be intentional and every decision to support skill development. Setting specific milestones amplifies the effectiveness of concentrated effort. Breaking the overall skill into progressive steps creates a roadmap for improvement. Achieving each milestone provides feedback, reinforces learning, and builds confidence. It is essential to define these milestones based on measurable outcomes rather than vague intentions. For example, instead of aiming simply to get better at a skill, establish concrete goals such as completing a particular technique flawlessly, increasing speed or accuracy, or performing under specific conditions. Achieving these milestones validates effort and maintains momentum. Persistence is a natural companion to intense focus. Progress rarely occurs in a straight line. Challenges, mistakes, and periods of frustration are inevitable. Staying committed to one skill despite setbacks develops resilience and reinforces the value of consistent effort. Each obstacle is an opportunity to strengthen technique, adapt strategy, and deepen understanding. Persistence ensures that small failures do not derail progress and that every session contributes meaningfully to long-term mastery. Time management is critical when dedicating oneself to a single skill. Setting aside uninterrupted periods daily or weekly ensures that practice is consistent and effective. Quality of attention matters more than quantity of hours, but sustained frequent engagement accelerates improvement. Structuring practice sessions around peak energy levels maximizes focus and efficiency. By allocating time deliberately, the learner transforms practice from an optional activity into a predictable, productive routine. Visualization and mental rehearsal complement physical practice. Engaging the mind in imagining correct execution enhances learning, reinforces technique, and strengthens neural pathways. Mental rehearsal prepares the brain to perform actions more effectively in reality. When combined with concentrated practice, visualization accelerates progress, deepens comprehension, and improves performance under pressure. The combination of focused effort and mental preparation produces results more efficiently than practice alone. Avoiding distraction is not only external but internal. Thoughts about other tasks, worries, or irrelevant information interfere with concentration. Recognizing these intrusions and gently redirecting attention back to the skill is a vital practice. Developing the habit of sustained focus strengthens cognitive control, allowing the learner to remain fully present and maximize the impact of each session. Over time, this mental discipline carries over to other areas of life, improving productivity and resilience. Breaking the skill into subcomponents while focusing on one core aspect ensures depth of learning. Attempting to master every element simultaneously leads to shallow comprehension and reduced retention. Instead, isolate a critical element, practice it thoroughly, and integrate it later. This method reduces cognitive overload, allows for precise improvement, and accelerates the development of competence. Concentrated attention on a single part builds confidence and mastery that can then be applied to the broader skill. The emotional dimension of focused practice should not be overlooked. Concentrated effort produces satisfaction, motivation, and a sense of accomplishment. Each session of dedicated attention reinforces self-efficacy, strengthens belief in capability, and builds momentum. Experiencing tangible improvement fosters engagement and drives further effort. Emotional reinforcement through visible progress sustains commitment even when challenges arise, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of growth and mastery. Rest and recovery play a supporting role in maintaining intense focus. Mental fatigue reduces concentration, diminishes learning efficiency, and increases the likelihood of mistakes. Scheduling breaks, ensuring adequate sleep, and balancing practice with restorative activities allow the brain to consolidate learning. Recovery is not a luxury. It is an essential component of effective, sustainable skill development. Proper rest ensures that focused practice sessions remain productive and that improvement continues steadily. Accountability mechanisms amplify results. Sharing goals with mentors, peers, or coaches creates external pressure to maintain concentration and effort. Feedback from trusted sources guides refinement and prevents wasted effort. External accountability encourages discipline and ensures that the learner honors their commitment to focused practice, reducing the risk of deviation or procrastination. Integration of skill components occurs most effectively when one core element is prioritized. Mastery of a single, essential aspect provides a foundation for connecting other elements. As proficiency in the core skill increases, adding complementary techniques becomes more straightforward and natural. This stepwise approach prevents overwhelm, enhances retention, and ensures that practice is strategic rather than scattered. Each layer of skill builds upon the foundation, creating a robust structure of competence. The mindset for intense focus emphasizes discipline over motivation. Motivation fluctuates and cannot be relied upon consistently. Establishing routines, creating environmental conditions for concentration, and committing to a single skill ensures that progress occurs regardless of temporary feelings. Discipline transforms intention into action, sustaining improvement when enthusiasm is low and consolidating gains when effort is consistent. By concentrating fully on one core skill until measurable progress occurs, the learner achieves efficiency, mastery, and confidence. Each focused session produces meaningful neural adaptation, reinforces technique, and develops the mental stamina necessary for continued growth. Over time, the accumulation of effort in a single area produces results that far surpass scattered attempts at multiple skills, highlighting the power of concentrated attention and persistent effort. Focusing intensely on one core skill until progress shows is not merely a method for faster learning. It is a principle that cultivates discipline, resilience, and self-mastery. Each hour of concentrated effort, free from distraction, deliberate in intention, and measured through outcomes, compounds over weeks and months into meaningful achievement. The process develops not only competence in the chosen skill, but also the mental habits that underpin lifelong learning, personal growth, and the ability to excel under pressure. Mastery begins with focus, and focus is achieved through unwavering commitment to one skill at a time. Chapter 4. Focus intensely on one core skill until progress shows. Focusing intensely on one core skill until progress shows is one of the most powerful strategies for achieving mastery. Attempting to learn multiple skills simultaneously often scatters attention, reduces retention, and slows overall growth. The human brain is designed to concentrate deeply when directed at a single purpose, and mastery emerges from sustained, deliberate effort. Choosing one skill and dedicating undivided attention to it allows for faster improvement, stronger neural connections, and the satisfaction of measurable results. Concentration is not simply about effort. It is about prioritizing what truly matters and giving it the full extent of your mental and physical energy. Commitment begins with selecting the most important skill at a particular stage of development. This requires honesty and clarity about your goals. Identify which skill will provide the greatest benefit, the most immediate impact, or the most substantial foundation for future growth. Once the skill is chosen, set clear objectives for what progress looks like. Without a defined measure, effort can become aimless and motivation may waver. Knowing precisely what to achieve allows for tracking improvement and provides the reinforcement necessary to continue pushing forward even when challenges arise. The practice of intense focus demands eliminating competing priorities during learning sessions. This means removing distractions, avoiding multitasking, and concentrating solely on the skill at hand. Even small interruptions can disrupt the flow of learning and reduce effectiveness. Every minute spent with full attention strengthens the brain's ability to encode knowledge and refine techniques. By dedicating a block of time exclusively to one skill, practice becomes meaningful, productive, and transformative. The consistency of focus builds momentum, and each session compounds towards significant improvement over exceeding time. Deliberate repetition is essential to progress. Mastery is rarely achieved through sporadic or casual effort. It requires repeatedly performing the skill with intention, analyzing performance, and refining technique. Each repetition strengthens connections in the brain, making actions more natural, precise, and confident. Focusing intensely ensures that each attempt is purposeful rather than mechanical, which is critical for turning effort into measurable progress. Repetition combined with reflection creates a cycle where learning becomes faster, deeper, and more durable. Monitoring performance is a critical aspect of focused practice. Progress must be tracked to understand what is working and what needs adjustment. Regular evaluation allows learners to identify weaknesses, measure gains, and adjust strategies accordingly. This might involve self-assessment, recording performance, or seeking feedback from mentors or peers. Objective tracking creates a sense of accountability and provides evidence that intense focus produces tangible results. Observing measurable improvement reinforces motivation, strengthens commitment, and confirms that concentrated effort is worthwhile. Mental clarity enhances the ability to focus on one core skill. A cluttered mind reduces attention span and diminishes learning efficiency. Techniques such as mindfulness, visualization, or brief meditation before practice can help center the mind and prepare it for deep engagement. Mental preparation signals to the brain that it is time to perform at its highest level, enhancing concentration, retention, and the capacity to integrate new information effectively. A clear mind allows every action to be intentional and every decision to support skill development. Setting specific milestones amplifies the effectiveness of concentrated effort. Breaking the overall skill into progressive steps creates a roadmap for improvement. Achieving each milestone provides feedback, reinforces learning, and builds confidence. It is essential to define these milestones based on measurable outcomes rather than vague intentions. For example, instead of aiming simply to get better at a skill, establish concrete goals such as completing a particular technique flawlessly, increasing speed or accuracy, or performing under specific conditions. Achieving these milestones validates effort and maintains momentum. Persistence is a natural companion to intense focus. Progress rarely occurs in a straight line. Challenges, mistakes, and periods of frustration are inevitable. Staying committed to one skill despite setbacks develops resilience and reinforces the value of consistent effort. Each obstacle is an opportunity to strengthen technique, adapt strategy, and deepen understanding. Persistence ensures that small failures do not derail progress and that every session contributes meaningfully to long-term mastery. Time management is critical when dedicating oneself to a single skill. Setting aside uninterrupted periods daily or weekly ensures that practice is consistent and effective. Quality of attention matters more than quantity of hours, but sustained frequent engagement accelerates improvement. Structuring practice sessions around peak energy levels maximizes focus and efficiency. By allocating time deliberately, the learner transforms practice from an optional activity into a predictable, productive routine. Visualization and mental rehearsal complement physical practice. Engaging the mind in imagining correct execution enhances learning, reinforces technique, and strengthens neural pathways. Mental rehearsal prepares the brain to perform actions more effectively in reality. When combined with concentrated practice, visualization accelerates progress, deepens comprehension, and improves performance under pressure. The combination of focused effort and mental preparation produces results more efficiently than practice alone. Avoiding distraction is not only external but internal. Thoughts about other tasks, worries, or irrelevant information interfere with concentration. Recognizing these intrusions and gently redirecting attention back to the skill is a vital practice. Developing the habit of sustained focus strengthens cognitive control, allowing the learner to remain fully present and maximize the impact of each session. Over time, this mental discipline carries over to other areas of life, improving productivity and resilience. Breaking the skill into subcomponents while focusing on one core aspect ensures depth of learning. Attempting to master every element simultaneously leads to shallow comprehension and reduced retention. Instead, isolate a critical element, practice it thoroughly, and integrate it later. This method reduces cognitive overload, allows for precise improvement, and accelerates the development of competence. Concentrated attention on a single part builds confidence and mastery that can then be applied to the broader skill. The emotional dimension of focused practice should not be overlooked. Concentrated effort produces satisfaction, motivation, and a sense of accomplishment. Each session of dedicated attention reinforces self-efficacy, strengthens belief in capability, and builds momentum. Experiencing tangible improvement fosters engagement and drives further effort. Emotional reinforcement through visible progress sustains commitment even when challenges arise, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of growth and mastery. Rest and recovery, play a supporting role in maintaining intense focus. Mental fatigue reduces concentration, diminishes learning efficiency, and increases the likelihood of mistakes. Scheduling breaks, ensuring adequate sleep, and balancing practice with restorative activities allow the brain to consolidate learning. Recovery is not a luxury. It is an essential component of effective, sustainable skill development. Proper rest ensures that focused practice sessions remain productive and that improvement continues steadily. Accountability mechanisms amplify results. Sharing goals with mentors, peers, or coaches creates external pressure to maintain concentration and effort. Feedback from trusted sources guides refinement and prevents wasted effort. External accountability encourages discipline and ensures that the learner honors their commitment to focused practice, reducing the risk of deviation or procrastination. Integration of skill components occurs most effectively when one core element is prioritized. Mastery of a single, essential aspect provides a foundation for connecting other elements. As proficiency in the core skill increases, adding complementary techniques becomes more straightforward and natural. This stepwise approach prevents overwhelm, enhances retention, and ensures that practice is strategic rather than scattered. Each layer of skill builds upon the foundation, creating a robust structure of competence. The mindset for intense focus emphasizes discipline over motivation. Motivation fluctuates and cannot be relied upon consistently. Establishing routines, creating environmental conditions for concentration, and committing to a single skill ensures that progress occurs regardless of temporary feelings. Discipline transforms intention into action, sustaining improvement when enthusiasm is low and consolidating gains when effort is consistent. By concentrating fully on one core skill until measurable progress occurs, the learner achieves efficiency, mastery, and confidence. Each focused session produces meaningful neural adaptation, reinforces technique, and develops the mental stamina necessary for continued growth. Over time, the accumulation of effort in a single area produces results that far surpass scattered attempts at multiple skills, highlighting the power of concentrated attention and persistent effort. Focusing intensely on one core skill until progress shows is not merely a method for faster learning. It is a principle that cultivates discipline, resilience, and self-mastery. Each hour of concentrated effort, free from distraction, deliberate in intention, and measured through outcomes, compounds over weeks and months into meaningful achievement. The process develops not only competence in the chosen skill, but also the mental habits that underpin lifelong learning, personal growth, and the ability to excel under pressure. Mastery begins with focus, and focus is achieved through unwavering commitment to one skill at a time. Chapter 5. Practice deliberately with feedback to correct mistakes fast. Practicing deliberately with feedback to correct mistakes quickly is the fastest route to genuine mastery. Casual or repetitive practice without attention to accuracy often reinforces errors rather than building skill. Improvement occurs when effort is targeted, intentional, and guided by an understanding of what works and what does not. Deliberate practice is purposeful. It focuses on the areas that challenge the learner the most, pushing boundaries while addressing weaknesses directly. Every session should have a clear objective, measurable outcomes, and a method to identify and correct mistakes as they occur. To practice deliberately, begin by identifying specific aspects of the skill that require attention. Vague intentions such as "get better" are insufficient. Break the skill into measurable components and isolate the elements that are most difficult. These are the areas where mistakes are most likely, but also where the greatest growth can occur. By confronting weaknesses directly, learning becomes efficient and progress accelerates. Deliberate practice avoids wasting energy on actions that are already comfortable or routine. instead focusing effort where it matters most. Feedback is an essential part of this process. Without it, mistakes go unnoticed and errors become ingrained habits. Feedback can come from various sources: instructors, peers, mentors, software tools, or even self-assessment. The critical element is immediacy. Correcting errors as soon as they occur ensures that the brain does not reinforce incorrect patterns. Observing results, analyzing outcomes, and adjusting performance continuously forms a feedback loop that drives improvement at an accelerated pace. Attention to detail distinguishes deliberate practice from casual effort. Every movement, thought, or action should be performed with awareness of technique and effectiveness. Mindless repetition may increase speed or endurance, but it does not guarantee improvement. Deliberate practice requires focus on form, precision, and execution. It emphasizes quality over quantity and views each repetition as an opportunity to refine the skill. Mistakes are not frustrating obstacles, they are vital signals that guide the next step of improvement. Creating a system to monitor performance enhances deliberate practice. Keeping a log, recording sessions, or using analytics provides measurable insight into strengths and weaknesses. Regular review allows learners to track progress, identify recurring errors, and adjust strategies accordingly. The process becomes iterative: perform, evaluate, correct, and repeat. This approach transforms practice from a vague effort into a structured, results-oriented process, making progress predictable and measurable. Immediate correction is a cornerstone of efficiency. Delaying feedback allows errors to persist and become habits that are harder to break. Correcting mistakes promptly requires attention, self-awareness, and willingness to confront imperfections. It may be uncomfortable to recognize errors, but this discomfort is an essential part of growth. Each correction improves neural pathways, ensuring that the skill develops accurately and that performance steadily advances. Deliberate practice also requires breaking tasks into manageable segments. Focusing on small, defined elements makes error detection easier and learning faster. Attempting to tackle complex sequences all at once increases cognitive load, making it difficult to identify mistakes and correct them effectively. Isolating individual components ensures that practice is precise, focused, and productive. Mastery is achieved by integrating these refined parts into a cohesive whole, not by rushing through everything at once. Mindset plays a critical role in this process. Mistakes should be viewed as opportunities rather than failures. The most effective learners embrace errors as informative and adjust strategies accordingly. This perspective transforms frustration into motivation, encouraging persistence rather than avoidance. Deliberate practice is not about comfort, it is about engaging fully with challenges and using feedback to accelerate growth. Repetition in deliberate practice is meaningful rather than mechanical. Each iteration should focus on improvement rather than mere completion. Conscious attention to how the skill is performed ensures that corrections are internalized. As weaknesses are addressed and mistakes are minimized, confidence grows alongside competence. This cycle reinforces both skill and mindset, creating a foundation for consistent improvement over time. Variety within focused practice prevents stagnation and encourages adaptability. Adjusting exercises, conditions, or contexts, while maintaining attention on deliberate objectives, strengthens the skill in multiple dimensions. Practicing under different scenarios or applying the skill in new ways ensures flexibility, enhances problem-solving abilities, and deepens understanding. Feedback should guide these variations, emphasizing areas where improvement is needed while reinforcing correct execution. Accountability strengthens the effectiveness of deliberate practice. Working with a mentor, coach, or peer creates external pressure to maintain focus, adhere to techniques, and seek feedback actively. The presence of oversight increases commitment and provides additional perspectives on performance, helping to identify blind spots and accelerate progress. Regular accountability ensures that deliberate practice remains disciplined and purposeful. Tracking progress visually or numerically enhances motivation and insight. Charts, logs, or milestone markers provide evidence of improvement, reinforcing the benefits of consistent effort. Observing tangible results from deliberate practice increases engagement, strengthens persistence, and encourages the learner to maintain focus even when challenges arise. Clear metrics allow the learner to adjust strategies, refine techniques, and celebrate accomplishments accurately. The combination of intense focus, systematic feedback, and purposeful repetition produces compounding growth. Every session builds upon the previous one, strengthening the brain's capacity for accurate execution. Errors are corrected, weaknesses are targeted, and strengths are amplified. Over time, deliberate practice transforms effort into skill, creating visible, measurable progress that reinforces motivation and commitment. Reflection is a complementary component of deliberate practice. After each session, consider what was learned, which mistakes occurred, and how performance can improve in the next session. This process transforms experience into insight and ensures that practice evolves in a structured and effective manner. Reflection deepens understanding, strengthens self-awareness, and ensures that each session contributes meaningfully to mastery. Deliberate practice requires patience. Immediate results are rare, and progress may appear slow at first. Recognizing that skill development is incremental allows the learner to maintain persistence and avoid frustration. Each session, each corrected mistake, and each focused effort compounds into long-term improvement. Patience ensures consistency, enabling the accumulation of small gains into significant achievement over time. Optimizing feedback methods increases efficiency. External observation, video recording, automated tools, or written evaluations provide different perspectives that highlight errors otherwise unnoticed. Combining multiple sources of feedback allows the learner to identify subtle mistakes, refine performance, and prevent the repetition of faulty techniques. Using feedback intelligently ensures that practice is targeted, efficient, and highly effective. Mental engagement is vital during deliberate practice. Passive repetition, without awareness, produces limited results. Active problem-solving, critical evaluation, and conscious adjustment of technique ensure that the mind is fully involved in the learning process. Engaged mental effort reinforces correct patterns, strengthens memory, and accelerates skill acquisition. Practice becomes an active process of refining ability rather than a passive routine. Consistency sustains improvement. Regularly practicing deliberately, focusing on weak points, and using feedback continuously creates an upward trajectory of skill development. Skipping sessions or neglecting mistakes interrupts progress and diminishes the benefits of prior effort. Consistent, deliberate practice produces steady, predictable results that compound over time. Each session contributes directly to mastery rather than being a standalone effort. The emotional impact of deliberate practice is empowering. Recognizing mistakes and correcting them fosters confidence, resilience, and a growth-oriented mindset. Every improvement, no matter how small, reinforces the idea that effort leads to tangible results. This reinforcement motivates continued engagement, transforming challenging practice into a source of pride, satisfaction, and self-assurance. Deliberate practice with immediate feedback also teaches adaptability. Skills are rarely static, and real-world application often requires adjustment. Learning to notice errors, analyze performance, and correct them quickly prepares the learner to respond effectively under changing circumstances. Adaptability, cultivated through this method, becomes a lifelong advantage applicable to multiple domains beyond the initial skill being learned. In conclusion, Practicing deliberately with feedback to correct mistakes quickly is essential for rapid and effective mastery. Every session should be purposeful, focused on weaknesses, guided by measurable objectives, and informed by immediate feedback. Mistakes are opportunities for growth, reflection refines understanding, and consistent effort compounds into expertise. This approach transforms learning from random repetition into a structured, results-oriented process that accelerates progress, strengthens resilience, and builds confidence. Deliberate practice is the bridge between potential and ability, turning commitment into competence and effort into achievement. Chapter 6. Track progress weekly and celebrate small, measurable learning wins. Tracking progress weekly and celebrating small, measurable learning wins is a transformative habit that reinforces growth, motivation, and confidence. Many learners focus solely on long-term outcomes, overlooking the significance of incremental improvement. Progress, when measured and acknowledged consistently, provides concrete evidence that effort is producing results. Without tracking, accomplishments may feel invisible, reducing motivation and obscuring areas that require adjustment. A weekly tracking routine turns abstract goals into visible achievements and highlights patterns that can guide more effective practice. The first step in weekly tracking is setting clear, specific metrics for performance. This requires breaking the skill or goal into measurable components that can be observed, recorded, and compared over time. These metrics should reflect meaningful progress rather than arbitrary activity. For example, tracking words learned in a language, time spent practicing a musical instrument, accuracy in technical tasks, or speed of execution provides tangible data. Clear measurement allows the learner to see growth objectively and identify areas needing further attention. Consistency in recording progress is crucial. Establishing a fixed day or time each week to review accomplishments reinforces discipline and ensures that tracking does not become sporadic or overlooked. A regular routine turns tracking into a habit, making it automatic and effortless over time. Consistency also allows for an accurate comparison between periods, highlighting improvements that might otherwise be unnoticed. The act of consistently recording progress trains the mind to recognize and value incremental change. Celebrating small wins strengthens motivation. Recognizing even minor accomplishments reinforces the connection between effort and achievement. Celebration need not be extravagant. It can be as simple as acknowledging improvement mentally, noting it in a journal, or rewarding oneself with a brief break or small treat. By appreciating small victories, learners create positive reinforcement loops that encourage continued engagement and maintain enthusiasm over extended periods. Tracking also enables reflection on strategies and techniques. Weekly review provides the opportunity to assess what is working, what is challenging, and what adjustments may be necessary. This reflective process ensures that effort remains purposeful and aligned with objectives rather than becoming rote or unproductive. By evaluating outcomes, learners can refine methods, focus on high-impact activities, and eliminate unhelpful habits. The combination of tracking and reflection converts raw effort into effective, efficient progress. Visualization of progress magnifies its impact. Recording achievements in a visual format, such as charts, graphs, or checklists, makes growth tangible. Seeing upward trends or completed milestones provides emotional reinforcement and strengthens commitment. Visualization also helps the brain internalize success, creating a sense of momentum and confidence that fuels future effort. Tangible representations of achievement make abstract growth concrete and energize continued practice. Small, measurable wins are psychologically powerful because they produce frequent reinforcement. Large goals can feel distant or unattainable, leading to frustration or procrastination. Breaking the journey into small, trackable steps allows for regular acknowledgement of improvement, which maintains motivation and prevents discouragement. Frequent positive feedback from the act of tracking and celebrating accomplishments transforms effort into a rewarding experience and strengthens the learner's emotional resilience. Tracking progress highlights patterns in performance that guide strategy refinement. Over time, trends emerge, showing which methods produce consistent improvement and which areas require more attention. Identifying patterns enables smarter practice, where focus is allocated efficiently to maximize growth. Regular monitoring allows learners to adapt their approach dynamically, ensuring that effort is consistently applied to actions that yield results. This process creates a cycle of observation, adjustment, and improvement that accelerates skill development. Accountability enhances the value of weekly tracking. Sharing progress with mentors, peers, or a learning community creates external validation and reinforces commitment. When achievements are reported to others, learners are more likely to maintain consistency and strive for higher performance. External accountability complements internal tracking, providing additional motivation and creating a social framework that supports sustained effort. The process of tracking progress also encourages self-awareness. By examining performance objectively, learners gain insight into strengths, weaknesses, and personal learning tendencies. Awareness allows for more deliberate practice and better decision-making regarding where to focus energy. Understanding one's learning patterns enhances efficiency and reduces wasted effort, making each session more impactful. Self-awareness cultivated through tracking strengthens both skill acquisition and personal growth. Celebration of progress should be proportionate and intentional. Recognizing even small achievements reinforces the value of effort, prevents burnout, and creates a sense of accomplishment that drives future action. This can include verbal acknowledgement, journaling milestones, or marking completed tasks visually. Celebrating achievements transforms routine practice into a psychologically rewarding process and fosters positive emotional association with learning. Integration of small wins into long-term objectives provides perspective and motivation. By connecting weekly achievements to overarching goals, learners can see how consistent effort compounds over time. This reinforces the importance of persistence, discipline, and focus. Observing cumulative progress boosts confidence, reduces anxiety about the size of the goal, and illustrates that consistent, measured effort produces meaningful results. Tracking and celebrating progress also fosters accountability to oneself. The discipline of weekly reflection and acknowledgement of accomplishments builds self-trust. When learners see consistent evidence that their efforts yield results, they internalize the connection between action and outcome. This strengthens self-efficacy, resilience, and the ability to maintain focus even when external recognition is absent. Recording mistakes and setbacks alongside successes provides a balanced perspective. Weekly tracking is not solely about celebrating wins, it also highlights areas for growth. Identifying obstacles, patterns of error, and recurring challenges allows learners to plan corrective actions. Acknowledging setbacks as learning opportunities ensures that practice remains realistic, adaptive, and growth-oriented, rather than discouraging or judgmental. The act of weekly reflection encourages intentionality. By reviewing what was achieved, what remains to be improved, and which strategies are effective, learners make informed decisions about future practice. This prevents effort from becoming aimless and ensures that each session contributes meaningfully to the overall goal. Reflection transforms repetition into insight, ensuring that consistent practice leads to cumulative improvement. Time-bound evaluation provides structure to progress tracking. Weekly intervals are ideal because they are frequent enough to maintain momentum, but long enough to see measurable improvement. Regular checkpoints prevent stagnation, maintain focus, and create rhythm in learning. Setting a fixed period for review turns progress tracking into a predictable, manageable habit, strengthening consistency and discipline. Tracking also encourages experimentation with new techniques or approaches. By observing results systematically, learners can test adjustments and measure their effectiveness objectively. This experimentation fosters innovation, adaptability, and the ability to optimize learning methods. Regular assessment ensures that adjustments are grounded in evidence rather than intuition, increasing the efficiency and impact of each session. Cumulative acknowledgement of small wins develops intrinsic motivation. Learners begin to value the process of learning itself, seeing each step as meaningful. Internal reinforcement reduces reliance on external rewards or validation, creating a self-sustaining cycle of engagement, improvement, and satisfaction. Intrinsic motivation nurtures discipline, persistence, and long-term commitment to personal growth. Celebrating progress fosters emotional resilience. Recognizing achievements, however small, creates positive reinforcement that balances the inevitable challenges and frustrations of learning. This emotional boost sustains focus, encourages risk-taking in practice, and builds confidence in the ability to overcome obstacles. Over time, the learner becomes more resilient, persistent, and optimistic, creating a mindset that supports continuous improvement across all areas of life. In conclusion, tracking progress weekly and celebrating small, measurable learning wins transforms the learning process into a structured, motivating, and rewarding journey. Clear metrics, consistent recording, reflective evaluation, and recognition of achievement reinforce effort, sustain motivation, and build confidence. By acknowledging progress incrementally, learners see the tangible results of their dedication, identify areas for improvement, and maintain momentum over the long term. This practice cultivates discipline, self-awareness, emotional resilience, and an understanding that growth is a continuous, measurable, and rewarding process. Consistent attention to weekly progress ensures that every effort contributes meaningfully to mastery, transforming potential into actualized ability and effort into achievement. Chapter 7. Teach what you learn to deepen understanding and retention. Teaching what you learn to deepen understanding and retention is one of the most effective methods for solidifying knowledge and turning information into lasting skill. Learning in isolation often leads to superficial comprehension because the brain does not fully integrate concepts without active engagement. Explaining a skill or concept to someone else forces the mind to organize information, clarify thinking, and identify gaps in understanding. The act of teaching transforms passive knowledge into active mastery by requiring precise articulation, structured reasoning, and practical demonstration. When learners commit to teaching what they know, retention increases dramatically and understanding becomes more profound. The first step is to simplify the skill or concept into clear, digestible components. When preparing to teach, learners must analyze the subject critically and determine which elements are essential for comprehension. This process forces attention to detail and ensures that foundational knowledge is thoroughly understood. Simplification is not about dumbing down content. It is about structuring information in a way that is coherent, logical, and accessible. Distilling complex ideas into teachable segments strengthens memory and promotes mental organization. Teaching also exposes gaps in knowledge that might otherwise remain unnoticed. When attempting to explain a skill to another person, unclear points or uncertainties become evident. These moments are opportunities for focused review and improvement. By identifying what is not fully understood, the learner can revisit the material, practice further, and achieve mastery. This feedback loop between teaching and learning ensures that understanding deepens with every session. Engaging others in the learning process reinforces accountability. When someone depends on your explanation or guidance, there is an intrinsic motivation to be accurate, thorough, and prepared. Accountability enhances focus, attention, and discipline, because the learner's performance has visible consequences. Teaching becomes not just an exercise in communication, but a structured practice that requires preparation, repetition, and refinement. This commitment accelerates the acquisition of both skill and confidence. Explaining concepts in multiple ways enhances cognitive flexibility. Different learners may understand information differently, requiring alternative examples, analogies, or demonstrations. Adapting explanations develops the ability to approach problems from various angles, strengthens conceptual understanding, and improves problem-solving skills. The more ways you can convey an idea, the more firmly it is embedded in memory. Teaching forces the brain to restructure and encode knowledge in multiple forms, making recall easier and application more fluid. Practical demonstration is a vital element of teaching. Showing how a skill is performed or how a concept is applied creates stronger mental connections than verbal explanation alone. Physical demonstration, step-by-step guidance, or hands-on involvement helps both the teacher and learner reinforce understanding. Repetition during demonstration ensures that each component of the skill is executed correctly and memorized effectively. Teaching through action consolidates cognitive, motor, and emotional pathways simultaneously. Feedback from those being taught enhances the learning process. Questions, challenges, or requests for clarification provide insights into areas that may require additional focus. Responding to queries demands that the teacher analyze the skill thoroughly, anticipate misunderstandings, and adjust explanations dynamically. This interaction strengthens both comprehension and communication skills. Feedback transforms teaching into a two-way process that accelerates mastery while building confidence and competence. Documentation and structured notes improve the teaching process. Writing explanations, creating diagrams, or developing step-by-step guides requires a deep understanding of the material. The process of organizing information into a teachable format forces clarity of thought and encourages a systematic approach. Documenting lessons also provides a reference for future teaching sessions, allowing reinforcement of knowledge over time. Structured preparation enhances both retention and delivery, ensuring that learning is durable and reliable. Teaching encourages reflection and self-evaluation. Every session presents an opportunity to consider what was explained clearly, what caused confusion, and what can be improved next time. Reflective practice strengthens insight, sharpens communication, and reinforces understanding. By analyzing teaching effectiveness, learners deepen their knowledge and develop skills in structuring, prioritizing, and presenting information in meaningful ways. Reflection ensures that learning is not static but continuously evolving. The emotional aspect of teaching contributes to retention. Explaining a skill to someone else creates a sense of responsibility, pride, and accomplishment. Positive emotional engagement enhances memory formation and strengthens motivation. Teaching reinforces the value of the knowledge itself, encouraging continued practice and refinement. Emotional investment in the learning process produces both cognitive and psychological reinforcement, solidifying mastery in a way that passive study cannot achieve. Applying teaching to real-world scenarios increases relevance and comprehension. Demonstrating how a skill functions in practical contexts helps learners connect abstract knowledge to concrete application. Teaching real examples requires a nuanced understanding, forcing the instructor to clarify processes, predict challenges, and demonstrate solutions. This process bridges the gap between theory and practice, making knowledge functional, accessible, and durable. Teaching also cultivates leadership and interpersonal skills. Guiding others requires patience, empathy, and clear communication. Developing the ability to explain, motivate, and support learners builds confidence in personal capabilities. These skills are transferable to professional, social, and creative domains, amplifying the benefits of learning beyond the skill itself. The act of teaching strengthens the learner's capacity to influence, inspire, and communicate effectively. Repetition through teaching reinforces long-term retention. Explaining a concept multiple times in different contexts or to different learners ensures that information is encoded in memory robustly. Each teaching session strengthens neural pathways associated with the skill, creating durable recall and mastery. The brain integrates the knowledge deeply because teaching requires active engagement, reasoning, and adaptation. Regularly teaching others transforms intermittent understanding into permanent expertise. Adapting teaching to the audience promotes deeper insight. Observing how learners respond reveals nuances in understanding, highlighting which aspects are intuitive and which require emphasis. Adjusting explanations develops adaptability, critical thinking, and a precise understanding of the material. Tailoring instruction ensures that knowledge is not superficial, but thoroughly comprehended, applicable, and versatile. The process of customizing communication deepens expertise while enhancing the ability to convey ideas effectively. Teaching cultivates a feedback-rich environment for self-improvement. Observing reactions, asking questions, and engaging in dialogue allows the learner to evaluate comprehension and identify weak points. Feedback collected during teaching informs future practice and adjustment strategies, creating a continuous improvement loop. This dynamic exchange makes teaching an active process of learning, reflection, refinement. Celebrating successful teaching moments reinforces engagement and motivation. Recognizing that learners have understood and applied knowledge effectively validates effort, encourages continued practice, and fosters pride in progress. Positive reinforcement strengthens commitment and sustains energy for both teaching and learning. Celebrating achievement, even in small ways, contributes to sustained growth and confidence. Teaching transforms knowledge into skill by requiring articulation, demonstration, and adaptation. Every lesson forces the learner to clarify thought, address weaknesses, and reinforce understanding. The integration of explanation, reflection, and feedback consolidates learning at cognitive, emotional, and practical levels. This process ensures that knowledge becomes functional, retrievable, and applicable across contexts, producing mastery that is resilient and durable. By committing to teaching what is learned, understanding deepens, retention increases, and skills become internalized. Each interaction strengthens neural connections, reinforces confidence, and develops cognitive flexibility. Teaching transforms passive acquisition into active mastery, making learning measurable, dynamic, and lasting. The habit of sharing knowledge amplifies personal growth while benefiting others, creating a cycle where teaching accelerates learning, strengthens discipline, and embeds knowledge permanently. Teaching what you learn is not merely an act of helping others, it is an essential practice for internalizing knowledge, reinforcing skill, and enhancing comprehension. The process demands clarity, focus, reflection, and adaptability, all of which improve both the skill being taught and the learner's overall ability to grow. Each session of teaching transforms understanding into retention, intention into action, and knowledge into mastery, producing lasting results that extend far beyond the immediate skill. Chapter 8. Apply new skills in SEDGE. Real tasks to build confidence. Applying new skills in real tasks is the most effective way to transform knowledge into practical ability and build genuine confidence. Practicing in isolation develops familiarity, but does not always prepare the mind or body for the unpredictable nature of real-world scenarios. The transition from controlled practice to practical application challenges the learner to adapt, improvise, and perform under pressure, which strengthens skill retention and enhances self-assurance. Each successful application demonstrates that the skill is functional, reliable, and transferable beyond the practice environment. Confidence emerges naturally when ability is tested and proven in authentic situations rather than imagined or simulated conditions. The first step in applying new skills is identifying appropriate real-world contexts where practice can be meaningful and measurable. Selecting tasks that align with the learner's level of competence ensures that challenges are achievable yet stimulating. Tasks that are too simple fail to test skills, while overly difficult assignments can lead to frustration and decreased motivation. By choosing tasks that are challenging but manageable, the learner experiences growth while maintaining engagement and avoiding discouragement. This balance accelerates both skill development and confidence. Preparation enhances the effectiveness of application. Before attempting a real task, reviewing key techniques, strategies, or concepts ensures readiness. Mental rehearsal, visualization, and planning provide a framework for execution and reduce the likelihood of error. Preparation also builds self-assurance because the learner knows that effort has been invested in mastering the necessary components. Approaching tasks methodically increases the probability of success, reinforces competence, and cultivates a sense of control over the learning process. Execution in real tasks demands focus and presence. Unlike isolated practice, real-world application introduces variables that require attention, adaptability, and problem-solving. The learner must monitor performance continuously, adjust techniques in response to feedback, and remain engaged in the moment. This active participation strengthens the brain's ability to integrate skill into practical contexts, transforming abstract knowledge into applied proficiency. Each attempt builds experience and reinforces confidence in one's capabilities. Feedback from real-world application is invaluable. Observing results, analyzing outcomes, and reflecting on performance reveals gaps, strengths, and areas requiring further attention. Feedback can come from personal observation, external input, or objective measures such as metrics or outcomes. Immediate and honest evaluation allows the learner to correct errors, refine strategies, and reinforce effective techniques. Using real-world experiences as feedback accelerates learning because the consequences of actions are tangible and meaningful. Incremental application builds competence gradually. Starting with smaller, controlled real-world tasks allows the learner to practice under manageable pressure. As confidence grows, tasks can increase in complexity, scale, or unpredictability. This staged approach ensures that skill development is sustainable, reduces the risk of failure, and reinforces the connection between effort and achievement. Incremental challenges provide a scaffolded pathway to mastery while continuously reinforcing confidence. Reflection after each task strengthens understanding and retention. Reviewing performance, analyzing what worked and what did not, and planning adjustments for future applications deepens comprehension. Reflection ensures that experiences are not merely performed, but internalized and understood at a higher level. Each cycle of application and reflection transforms practical experience into long-lasting skill and increases self-awareness regarding strengths, weaknesses, and strategies for improvement. Applying skills in real tasks also cultivates resilience. Unpredictable outcomes, mistakes, or setbacks are natural in authentic contexts. Confronting challenges directly teaches problem-solving, adaptability, and perseverance. Experiencing and overcoming difficulties reinforces self-efficacy, demonstrating that capability is not theoretical, but proven under real conditions. Each challenge, successfully navigated, builds psychological strength alongside practical ability, creating a more confident and competent learner. Confidence grows through repeated exposure and successful completion of tasks. Every accomplishment, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that skill is reliable and applicable. Observing tangible outcomes of effort strengthens self-trust and encourages continued engagement. This reinforcement transforms apprehension into assurance, hesitation into decisive action, and uncertainty into competence. Applying skills in practice environments and then transferring them to real tasks ensures that confidence is grounded in evidence rather than assumption. Diversity of tasks enhances adaptability and mastery. Exposing the skill to different situations, conditions, and constraints tests versatility and prepares the learner for unpredictable circumstances. Each variation challenges the mind to apply principles creatively and reinforces flexible problem-solving. By engaging with multiple contexts, the skill becomes robust, transferable, and resilient under pressure. Confidence grows as the learner recognizes the ability to succeed across a range of challenges. Mentorship or collaboration enhances real-world application. Receiving guidance, observing others, and participating in cooperative tasks allows the learner to compare strategies, receive feedback, and incorporate best practices. Interaction with experienced individuals accelerates learning, highlights potential improvements, and reinforces effective performance. Collaborative application creates additional opportunities for reflection and growth, reinforcing both skill and confidence. Documenting experiences in real tasks strengthens learning outcomes. Journaling observations, noting challenges, and recording solutions create a personal reference for future improvement. Documentation ensures that lessons learned are not forgotten and allows systematic tracking of progress. Reflecting on documented experiences helps consolidate knowledge, reinforces the value of each task, and provides a tangible sense of achievement that builds confidence. Real-world application encourages creative problem-solving. Unlike structured practice, authentic tasks often present unforeseen challenges requiring improvisation and adaptation. The learner develops strategies for dealing with variability, enhances critical thinking, and strengthens decision-making under pressure. Confronting uncertainty reinforces cognitive flexibility and prepares the individual for a broad range of practical situations, increasing both competence and confidence. Timing and pacing are important during application. Balancing urgency with careful execution ensures accuracy and effectiveness. Rushing can lead to mistakes and diminished confidence, while excessive caution can limit progress and learning opportunities. Finding the right rhythm allows the learner to perform efficiently, maintain focus, and experience success in real-time contexts. Pacing reinforces skill reliability and builds trust in one's ability to handle tasks confidently. Incremental achievements should be celebrated to reinforce motivation. Recognizing progress, even in small ways, strengthens the connection between effort and outcome. Positive reinforcement boosts morale, maintains engagement, and fosters a mindset oriented toward continuous improvement. Celebrating accomplishments ensures that real-world application remains rewarding and encourages consistent effort over time. Applying skills to real tasks also reinforces discipline. Committing to practice outside controlled environments requires initiative, responsibility, and accountability. Completing tasks reliably develops work ethic, strengthens focus, and demonstrates that skill is not theoretical, but functional in practical situations. Discipline cultivated through real-world application supports both personal growth and long-term mastery. Observation of others performing similar tasks provides additional learning opportunities. Analyzing techniques, strategies, and outcomes informs personal practice, reveals areas for improvement, and inspires innovation. Learning from others accelerates adaptation to real-world conditions and reinforces confidence by providing models of successful execution. Observation complements hands-on practice, creating a richer, more comprehensive learning experience. Applying skills in practical contexts prepares the learner for future challenges. The combination of competence, adaptability, and confidence acquired through real tasks equips the individual to handle new, more complex situations. This preparation strengthens resilience, reduces anxiety about performance, and reinforces the belief that mastery is achievable through consistent, focused effort. Each experience contributes to long-term growth and readiness for higher-level tasks. In conclusion, applying new skills in real tasks is essential for transforming practice into competence and building authentic confidence. Every real-world application challenges the learner to integrate knowledge, adapt to unpredictable circumstances, and perform effectively under pressure. By selecting appropriate tasks, preparing thoroughly, executing with focus, and reflecting on outcomes, learners reinforce skill, consolidate learning, and cultivate resilience. Repeated application creates a feedback loop where experience strengthens ability, achievement builds confidence, and mastery becomes tangible. The habit of transferring skills to practical contexts ensures that learning is meaningful, durable, and empowering, providing both competence and self-assurance in all areas of personal and professional life. Chapter 9. Build resilient habits by practicing consistently, regardless of setbacks. Building resilient habits by practicing consistently, regardless of setbacks, is the cornerstone of long-term growth and mastery. Progress in any skill or personal development journey is rarely linear. Challenges, mistakes, and unexpected obstacles are inevitable, yet true growth occurs when effort continues despite difficulty. Resilient habits transform learning into a structured, reliable process, allowing improvement to compound over time. Consistency is not a matter of occasional effort or fleeting motivation. It is the repeated commitment to take action, even when circumstances are discouraging or results are slow. The first step in cultivating resilience is acknowledging that setbacks are part of the process. Mistakes, failures, and slow progress are not signs of inadequacy but natural stages of development. Accepting this reality prepares the mind to respond constructively rather than react emotionally. Each setback provides information about what needs adjustment, what is working, and where additional focus is required. Viewing challenges as opportunities for refinement transforms adversity into a powerful learning tool. Consistency begins with structured routines. Establishing regular times, durations, and formats for practice ensures that effort becomes automatic rather than dependent on fleeting willpower. Routines create predictability, reduce decision fatigue, and anchor practice in daily life. Even brief but consistent sessions contribute more to skill development than irregular, intense bursts. Committing to a routine solidifies the habit of practice and builds resilience by maintaining forward momentum regardless of temporary setbacks. Small, achievable goals reinforce resilience. Breaking larger objectives into manageable steps allows for measurable progress while preventing overwhelm. Achieving incremental milestones provides regular reinforcement, boosting confidence and motivation. When difficulties arise, focusing on attainable short-term targets maintains direction and reduces the likelihood of discouragement. Each small accomplishment validates effort, strengthens habit formation, and nurtures the perseverance required for long-term growth. Emotional regulation is critical for resilient practice. Frustration, disappointment, or impatience can derail effort if not managed effectively. Developing techniques for staying calm, maintaining focus, and redirecting energy toward constructive action ensures continuity in practice. Mindful reflection, deep breathing, or brief pauses can reset attention and reinforce determination. Resilience is not the absence of challenge. It is the ability to maintain consistent effort despite emotional turbulence. Accountability reinforces resilient habits. Sharing progress, goals, or practice commitments with mentors, peers, or supportive communities creates external motivation to continue. Accountability increases commitment, reduces the likelihood of skipping sessions, and provides encouragement when setbacks occur. The presence of external observers or collaborators strengthens consistency and builds confidence that effort is noticed and valued. Tracking progress visually or numerically strengthens persistence. Observing tangible improvements, even small ones, reinforces the connection between effort and result. Charts, logs, or checklists provide evidence of cumulative progress, reminding learners that each session contributes to long-term success. Tracking also highlights patterns, allowing adaptation of strategies and methods when obstacles arise. Clear evidence of progress motivates continued effort even when challenges feel discouraging. Adapting strategies in response to setbacks enhances resilience. Consistent practice does not mean rigid repetition without consideration. Evaluating what is effective and adjusting techniques improves outcomes and prevents stagnation. Flexibility in approach allows learners to maintain momentum while responding intelligently to challenges. Resilient habits combine persistence with adaptability, ensuring that setbacks become catalysts for refinement rather than reasons for quitting. Repetition strengthens both skill and mental stamina. Regular practice embeds actions into muscle memory and cognitive patterns, reducing the mental effort required over time. Habits become second nature, allowing learners to continue developing even when motivation is low. The compounding effect of repeated, deliberate effort builds competence and reinforces confidence in one's ability to overcome obstacles. Resilience grows in parallel with skill because consistent action strengthens both mind and performance. Positive reinforcement encourages habit sustainability. Celebrating small wins, acknowledging effort, and recognizing improvement reinforce the value of consistent practice. Rewards do not need to be elaborate. Even mental acknowledgement or brief personal recognition can strengthen motivation. Reinforcement provides psychological energy to continue despite setbacks, transforming practice from a duty into a gratifying process that encourages persistence. Learning from mistakes is integral to resilient practice. Errors should be examined objectively to extract lessons rather than inducing discouragement. Each failure offers insight into technique, strategy, or mindset, providing direction for subsequent sessions. Cultivating curiosity about mistakes rather than fear or frustration builds a mindset that embraces challenges. Consistent evaluation and learning from setbacks ensure that each difficulty contributes to growth rather than halting progress. Time management supports habit formation, allocating specific periods for practice and protecting them from interruption ensures that effort remains uninterrupted. Prioritizing practice in daily schedules demonstrates commitment and reinforces discipline. Even when life becomes busy or unpredictable, maintaining dedicated time signals the importance of growth and strengthens resilience by making practice non-negotiable. Mental visualization reinforces the power of consistent practice. Imagining successful execution of skills, visualizing overcoming obstacles, and mentally rehearsing routines prepares the mind to act effectively. Visualization strengthens neural pathways associated with performance, making execution smoother and more confident. Combined with consistent effort, mental rehearsal enhances skill retention and reinforces determination to continue despite setbacks. Community support fosters resilience. Engaging with others pursuing similar goals provides encouragement, advice, and shared experiences. Communities normalize challenges, celebrate achievements, and offer perspective when obstacles feel overwhelming. Collective support reinforces commitment, reduces isolation, and motivates continued practice even in difficult circumstances. Social reinforcement amplifies the individual's ability to maintain consistent effort and overcome setbacks. Discipline strengthens resilient habits by prioritizing action over fleeting emotions. Motivation fluctuates naturally, but discipline ensures that practice continues when enthusiasm is low. Developing routines, adhering to schedules, and committing to the process reinforces resilience by creating structure that supports consistency. Over time, disciplined effort becomes habitual, requiring less reliance on willpower and sustaining practice regardless of external challenges. Mindset shapes the perception of setbacks. Viewing obstacles as temporary and solvable rather than permanent and insurmountable promotes constructive action. Resilience grows when difficulties are framed as opportunities to strengthen skill, knowledge, and perseverance. A mindset oriented toward growth fosters patience, persistence, and the belief that consistent effort ultimately produces meaningful results. Integrating practice into daily life ensures continuity. Embedding habits into routines, rituals, or recurring tasks reduces the likelihood of disruption. When practice becomes a regular, expected part of life, it persists despite fluctuations in external circumstances. Consistent integration reinforces resilience by creating an environment where growth is inevitable rather than optional. Self-reflection supports resilient habits by enabling assessment of progress and identification of obstacles. Evaluating what is effective, what requires adjustment, and how setbacks occurred provides actionable insight. Reflection turns experience into understanding, ensuring that challenges lead to improvement rather than discouragement. Habitual self-assessment strengthens both skill development and the capacity to maintain effort consistently. Long-term resilience emerges from cumulative consistent effort. Practicing despite setbacks builds confidence, competence, and perseverance simultaneously. Each session contributes to growth, each challenge strengthens mental stamina, and each small victory reinforces motivation. Resilient habits create a foundation for lifelong learning, personal mastery, and the ability to face future challenges with poise and determination. In conclusion, building resilient habits by practicing consistently, regardless of setbacks, is essential for mastery, personal growth, and long-term success. Accepting setbacks as natural, establishing structured routines, setting achievable goals, and reflecting on outcomes ensures that effort remains purposeful and productive. Discipline, adaptability, and accountability reinforce commitment, while tracking progress and celebrating achievements sustain motivation. Resilient habits transform challenges into opportunities, effort into progress, and persistence into mastery, creating the foundation for enduring competence, confidence, and self-mastery. Chapter 10. Sustain momentum with short, daily routines that compound results. Sustaining momentum with short daily routines that compound results is the key to achieving long-term growth and consistent progress in any area of life. Large goals often feel overwhelming and distant, making it difficult to maintain focus or motivation. Short daily routines address this by breaking down effort into manageable, repeatable actions that fit naturally into everyday life. When practiced consistently, these small actions accumulate over time, producing significant improvement that may seem imperceptible in the short term, but becomes transformative over months and years. Momentum is not built through occasional bursts of effort, but through consistent, intentional, and cumulative action. The first step in creating short daily routines is identifying the most impactful actions that align directly with goals. Each routine should target core behaviors that produce measurable results. For example, dedicating a few minutes daily to practicing a skill, journaling progress, reading, or reviewing key concepts can produce more growth than sporadic, lengthy sessions. By focusing on high-value actions that can be performed quickly, learners remove barriers to consistency and ensure that effort is sustainable even during busy or stressful periods. Consistency is more critical than intensity in these routines. Performing a short task every day establishes a rhythm, reinforces habit formation, and trains the mind to anticipate regular engagement with the skill. Momentum arises naturally when actions become predictable and automatic. Even when energy or motivation is low, completing a brief routine maintains connection with the goal and prevents regression. Daily engagement, no matter how small, compounds into substantial improvement over time. Designing routines with structure increases their effectiveness. Clear steps, defined durations, and consistent timing ensure that each session is purposeful and repeatable. Structure reduces cognitive load because the learner does not have to decide what to do each day. Instead, the routine becomes a reliable framework for growth, fostering discipline and focus. Over time, these structured habits integrate seamlessly into daily life, creating a foundation for continuous progress. Accountability strengthens adherence to daily routines. Sharing goals or routine commitments with mentors, peers, or support networks increases commitment and reduces the likelihood of skipping sessions. External accountability encourages discipline, reinforces the value of small daily actions, and provides encouragement when energy or motivation falters. Maintaining accountability ensures that routines remain consistent and that momentum is sustained. Tracking progress reinforces the cumulative power of small routines. Recording completed actions, noting improvements, and visualizing growth provides tangible evidence that consistent effort produces results. Seeing incremental gains motivates continued engagement and reinforces belief in the compounding effect. Tracking transforms abstract routines into measurable progress, strengthening the psychological connection between effort and outcome. Flexibility in routines ensures sustainability. Life is unpredictable, and rigid schedules may lead to missed sessions or frustration. Designing routines that can be adapted in duration, intensity, or timing allows learners to maintain consistency even when circumstances change. Short daily actions are particularly effective because they are easy to adjust without compromising overall progress. Flexibility preserves momentum and prevents disruption due to external factors. Mindful engagement during routines enhances their impact. Performing each action with attention, focus, and intentionality ensures that time is spent productively rather than mechanically. Awareness amplifies learning, skill development, and cognitive retention. Mindful repetition also strengthens, and discipline reinforces the neural pathways associated with skill mastery and maximizes the value of even brief daily efforts. Short routines benefit from incremental progression, gradually increasing duration, complexity, or intensity ensures that the learner continues to grow without overwhelming effort. Small, consistent adjustments prevent plateauing and maintain engagement by presenting challenges that are achievable yet stimulating. The compounding effect of incremental progression creates exponential growth, demonstrating that continuous improvement does not require grand gestures but persistent, deliberate action. Celebrating small achievements sustains motivation. Acknowledging completed routines, milestones reached, or improvements noticed reinforces the connection between effort and success. Recognition of progress, no matter how minor, strengthens commitment to daily practice and fosters a positive mindset. Celebration of small wins transforms routines from repetitive tasks into rewarding experiences that encourage ongoing engagement. Integration of routines into daily life ensures they are maintained long-term. Embedding practice into existing habits, schedules, or rituals reduces the need for extra willpower. When routines become natural extensions of everyday life, consistency is preserved even during challenging periods. This integration allows effort to compound continuously, producing sustained momentum and measurable growth over time. Reflection amplifies the effectiveness of short routines Briefly reviewing performance, assessing improvements, and identifying areas for adjustment ensures that daily actions are productive rather than rote. Reflection transforms routine practice into active learning, allowing small daily efforts to produce meaningful and lasting results. The combination of action and assessment accelerates skill development and strengthens confidence in continuous progress. Using variety strategically prevents monotony while maintaining momentum. Introducing subtle changes in approach, technique, or focus within the daily routine keeps engagement high and enhances adaptability. Variation ensures that skills develop comprehensively, cognitive flexibility increases, and motivation remains strong. Even small changes in routine execution amplify the cumulative effect of consistent daily effort. Short daily routines also enhance resilience. By committing to repeated action regardless of circumstances, learners develop mental toughness and discipline. Regular engagement in manageable tasks demonstrates that consistent effort is possible even under pressure or during setbacks. Resilience cultivated through daily practice strengthens long-term persistence and reinforces the capacity to maintain momentum across all areas of life. Visualization of progress can complement short routines. Imagining successful execution, improvement, or long-term achievement reinforces motivation and internalizes the value of consistent action. Mental rehearsal strengthens the neural pathways associated with skill and creates psychological momentum that parallels physical practice. Visualization amplifies the compounding effect by aligning mindset with action. Compounding results emerge when consistent effort builds upon previous gains. Each small action contributes to a foundation that supports further growth. Over time, the cumulative effect is significant, producing mastery, confidence, and measurable skill improvement. The principle of compounding demonstrates that even brief, regular practice can outperform occasional intensive sessions, highlighting the power of small, consistent effort over time. Routines should balance challenge and achievability. Selecting tasks that are realistic but meaningful ensures that each daily effort contributes to growth without creating discouragement. Proper calibration of routines maintains motivation, reinforces habit formation, and ensures that cumulative progress continues steadily. Sustainable challenge prevents stagnation and encourages continuous engagement. Integration with feedback loops strengthens momentum. Incorporating observation, reflection, or measurement of performance ensures that routines remain effective and targeted. Feedback informs adjustments, refines technique, and increases the value of each session. Combining short routines with continuous feedback enhances skill acquisition, accelerates improvement, and sustains forward progress. Routines should connect to broader goals to maintain perspective. Even brief daily actions gain significance when aligned with long-term objectives. Recognizing the link between routine practice and overall ambition reinforces commitment, enhances focus, and transforms small efforts into meaningful contribution toward mastery. This connection between micro-actions and macro goals ensures that momentum remains purposeful. In conclusion, sustaining momentum with short daily routines that compound results transforms incremental effort into significant achievement. Consistency, structure, mindfulness, adaptability, reflection, and alignment with broader goals ensure that routines are effective, rewarding, and resilient. Each daily action contributes to cumulative progress, strengthens skill, builds confidence, and reinforces discipline. The compounding nature of small, consistent efforts produces growth that may be invisible day to day, but becomes profound over time. By committing to brief, purposeful daily routines, learners create a self-sustaining cycle of improvement, ensuring that effort consistently translates into measurable results, personal growth, and lasting mastery.